to the ball game. Take me out to the ground.
Happy Black Friday, everybody. Hey, howdy, hi, and how the hell are you? We are ready for a big day of college football. We'll get into the lines here in a second, but it is Friday, so I do want to jump on the topic at hand that we do every Friday here on the sports page, and that is Major League Baseball. So let's go ahead and dive into what's going on in the free agent market. Got some names that went off the board this past week. Of course, just to catch you up to speed, Erod went to the Tigers, Syndergaard to the Angels, Verlander stayed home, and decent name of Steven Matz moves from Toronto to the Cardinals, and he goes there on a 4-year deal. And then you also had Disco Stick. He stayed at home with the Giants. So what about the other big names? Who is still out there, and what are the rumors? We're going to go ahead and dive into that. Carlos Correa is the number one free agent out there on the market, along with Corey Seager, two shortstops who are in their prime. And you have to figure that they are going to probably get sewn up before a lot of other guys. Usually what happens is the mid free agents, almost want to call them like mid-majors. And I'm talking about the guys that are down around, we'll say 15 to around 25 to 35. They're usually waiting on the top 10 to get signed, and then you'll start seeing the avalanche. Now, the biggest thing that gets thrown into this mess this year is the fact that you get the collective bargaining agreement that has not been signed. So will that hold up certain teams from signing? Will it hold up certain players from signing? Depending on their agent, they may be playing the game of let's wait and see what the new CBA looks like, and you might be able to get more money for more bang for your buck, so to speak. So that's the one thing that I think is holding or will hold up a lot of these. It's not out of the ordinary for us to go into the Thanksgiving weekend and your major free agents still be out there. But we might go into Christmas and be in the same situation. But right now, Carlos Correa and Seager, the main teams, obviously, that are out there that are going to be looking for shortstop. You would put the Astros in the mix there, but realistically, I am not putting the Astros there. And the reason why is because I think they're going to try to figure that out within, and I do not believe that they are going to try to worry too much about getting a big-name free agent there. They have so many other fish to fry, and they're going to be trying to build that team back to the World Series. The money that they have in Altuve and Bregman, and then you also got to look at the other big names that will be coming of free agency down the road, mainly in Yordan Alvarez. But you got a lot of pieces there, so I don't think Houston goes crazy. We'll see them bring back guys that they want to keep, that they want to bring back, that they think are economical and important to their team. Look, they brought back Brantley. They brought back Verlander because it was a short deal. I don't think Houston has a problem of spending the big bucks. They just don't want a long deal when you're talking about older players. So, Seager, Correa, I do believe the Yankees end up getting into this mix. I think they are going to be very heavy. I kind of expect the Yankees to be more aggressive towards Corey Seager just because we all know the history of the Yankees and Carlos Correa, and it would be, to me, a better fit to bring in that left-handed batter on the short porch in the Yankees right field and have a stalwart shortstop, a guy who can finally be the quote-unquote heir apparent to Derek Jeter, which he's been gone for obviously several years now, but they've never really put that shortstop over there. Corey Seager could be that answer. You got Chris Bryant. I believe he stays in San Francisco. He is ranked as the number 3 free agent on the list. I don't know if I believe that, but that's where they have him. He is 29 years old, so that comes into play. Marcus Semien, that is one of the most intriguing ones to me. He's still only 31 years old, and he can play second or short. And you got teams, a lot of teams out there, including the Yankees, which we just talked about, possibly even the Dodgers. But I'm thinking of teams like possibly, because you could slide him around to second, it makes him so much more valuable. Him doing that 1-year deal in Toronto and playing second base was huge. The offense that he put up, so look for the Mets to be aggressive towards Marcus Semien. He's a very, very good hitter. He's a professional hitter. He gives you professional at-bats. And I do believe Toronto wants to bring him back. He is 31 years old. So I think the biggest thing for him is he's going to try to get the longest deal possible coming off that big year. And how many years he can get will end up being the sticking point, because he doesn't want to sign a 2 to 3 year deal. He wants a 4, probably 5-year deal. And I think most teams, I think that's where you're going to see the rubber meet the road, is he's going to want at least a 4. He's going to be pushing for a 5. And most teams are going to want to try to give him a 3 because of his age. Same thing with Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman's number 5 on the list, 32 years old. Because of his position, and it looks like the DH is coming, I think not only the Atlanta Braves, which I do believe he ends up back there, but let's say he doesn't. Let's go ahead and play devil's advocate and say he doesn't. Because he plays first base, which is a position that ages well, and it appears we're going to get a designated hitter in both leagues, that opens up an additional 15 jobs, not necessarily for next year, because if you sign Freddie Freeman to a deal for $30 million plus a year, you have to go out and make sure that he is your starting first baseman, because that's a lot of dough to throw at a designated hitter. But if he ends up getting that 6th year that I think he's looking for, I think that's the kicker. Or maybe he signs a more club-friendly deal, but you stretch it to 7. With the designated hitter, that's going to allow you to do that. A designated hitter at age 38 is not that big a deal in today's baseball. Some of the best years that guys have been in their late 30s, including the ultimate designated hitter, David Ortiz. Robbie Ray, that is a very interesting one. Left-handed pitcher for the Blue Jays. He is obviously the reigning Cy Young as well. Left-handed, nasty pitcher, finally put it together. He's 30 years old. He's going to be looking for a 4 to 5 year deal. He doesn't want to go out there and just sign a really short deal and away we go. And I honestly think he might be the best pitching prospect. When you size up what he's done, where he is in his career, and his age, I think he's the best pitcher out there. Now, this next name is going to make you think I'm nuts, because I just said Robbie Ray's the best pitcher out there. Max Scherzer is a free agent. But Max Scherzer's also 37 years old. And Max Scherzer's probably going to be looking for either a very high-end 3-year deal, and what I mean by that is where he's making 3 years, $100 million, somewhere in that area. Or if you give him a 40-year deal, which is a little risky at the age of 37, would he take a 4-year deal if the average per year was a little lower? So that's the number 2 pitcher in my book out there on the free agent market. The number 3 guy, and look, I'm looking at the list from CBS Sports. They actually have him a little lower, but my number 3 guy out there on the market is Marcus Strowman. 30 years old, had a phenomenal year. I do believe he's turned a corner. He is a bit of a head case. That's the part that concerns me. He's kind of a nut job. There's times where you don't know what the hell he's thinking, and so you could be dealing with the Kyrie Irving type. And are you going to give big money to someone like that? So that's obviously an area for concern. It has to be. Why the hell wouldn't it be? But there's no denying his talent, and he did step up in a big way this year. Without Marcus Strowman, the Mets are not in the playoff conversation at all. He held that team above water. Because let's be honest, DeGrom did DeGrom-type things, which means phenomenal when he's out on the mound, but you can't rely on him to go to the post every day. The number one ability in Major League Baseball is availability. And as great as DeGrom is when he's pitching, he didn't pitch the last 2 months of the year, and this is typical Jacob DeGrom. I don't know if there's necessarily like a structural damage or whatnot, but it seems like DeGrom usually deals with some kind of aches and pains that keeps him off the mound at some point for a decent amount of time. Now, last year was a little different. You don't expect him to absolutely spit the bit and not show back up for the second half of the season. But at the same token, you got to call a spade, and right now DeGrom is an unreliable superstar. The next pitcher that is out there on everyone's radar, and he's ranked a little higher for most folks, but I had to put him below Strowman, is Kevin Gallisman. Gallisman had a great, phenomenal first part of the year this year, and then he kind of fell off. He's 30 years old. It seems like he should be much older, but he's the same age as Marcus Strowman. But if I'm going to go out and give a 4-year deal with top dollar to a starting pitcher, I'm going to give it to Strowman before I give it to Gallisman. I don't believe in Gallisman's long-term ability. We saw it in Atlanta where he's phenomenal and he's unhittable at times, and then there's other times where he's very below average at best. Your next free agent that's out there on the market is Starling Marte. And I think that's where we'll cut this off at. Next week, we'll do the next top 10 or the next 10 free agents. And then, of course, address anyone who has been re-signed or signed. But Starling Marte, 33 years old, phenomenal talent. But he's 33 years old. I think the best thing he can expect for is to go out and get himself a good, solid 3-year contract. Of course, he's coming from the A's. The A's are not likely to spend big money on a 33-year-old free agent. But there's a lot of places where Marte could be landing. Some of the names that I've got in my head, possibly the Mets. They would love to add some offense to their outfield. You could see him end up in Atlanta. I don't think he's a good fit necessarily for Atlanta, but if they could get him on a bargain deal, maybe. Marte, one of his greatest assets is his athletic ability, but he's 33 years old, and that's the concern. He's a phenomenal hitter, very good defensive player, but he's 33 years old. So how much do you want to invest into him? Do you want to go 3 years? Is he looking for 4? He's probably hoping for 4. I think his best case scenario is to get a good, solid AAV for 3 years. All right, that's going to go ahead and do it for us. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. Have a great rest of your Thanksgiving weekend. Don't really have enough time to get into the college football lines. I will say this today, the one that I think I like the most. First of all, I believe NC State's probably going to cover the spread. It's down to 5 points right now against North Carolina. And then the other one that I've got to take a stab at, what about Iowa? Iowa's basically a pick 'em going into Nebraska. And Nebraska's quarterback, Martinez, is done for the season. I'm not convinced in a ground and pound game that Nebraska should be a pick 'em even though they're at home. All right, we will see you Monday. Have a great weekend. Of course, we'll be here Saturday for the Dixie Football Nation. And we'll be here Sunday for the Handicappers. Have a great one.
Take me out to the ball game.